In the near future, the US government releases a chemical attack on the whole country as a way to reset society. This kills millions of people in just a couple of minutes. Afterward, the government does nothing to keep society in order, so survivors have two options. They can join one of the gangs that control the territory and are constantly fighting, or be a domestic, which means they just want to live in peace. A few months after the attack, domestic couple Mark and Nina are loading their car because they'll travel to Milwaukee to find Nina's parents. Mark's friend warns him of the dangers on the road, but Mark insists he must go to support Nina because he still loves her even though they were considering getting a divorce before the attack. During the trip they listen to a radio host who reminds domestics to stay away from the freeways, keep an eye out for snipers, and shoot anyone dressed like a ghost because they're part of the Sheets gang. Sometime later the car starts to malfunction, so they stop at an abandoned garage. While Mark is working on the vehicle, three men enter the shop. They don't see the couple in the other room, so Mark very carefully moves to get back in his car. Suddenly a truck bursts into the shop and the drivers of the Sheets gang open fire to kill the three men. It takes Mark a few tries to start the car and the noise gets the Sheets' attention, but luckily the vehicle finally gets going and the couple drives away right before the Sheets can hurt them. On the radio, they learn that the Sheets are in a turf war with the Nailers. Late in the afternoon, they decide to stop at an abandoned house to spend the night. Nina searches for supplies while Mark checks every room just in case, eventually finding a dead couple in the bedroom. The bloodstains show they were attacked and mutilated before their death, so Mark covers the bodies as a last merciful gesture. Then Nina tries to contact her mom using an old radio, but nobody answers. That night Mark updates his map before going to sleep with Nina, unaware that a man outside is watching them. The next morning the man and his friend are beaten up by a group of Nailers, who threaten to kill them with a chainsaw if they don't tell them where to find a woman. The terrified man informs them where to find Nina, but he and his friend get shot to death anyway. Moments later the couple hears the Nailers approaching the house on their bikes, so Nina runs to hide in the attic and puts on headphones to avoid hearing what's about to happen. When the Nailers enter the house and start searching the rooms, Mark sneaks around with a screwdriver and quickly kills an intruder by stabbing his head from behind. Then he tackles Nailer Dean to the ground and fights him until he manages to stab him in the stomach and an eye to kill him too. Afterward the couple leaves in the car, not noticing someone is watching them. During the trip, they hear on the radio that a person from the Cherry gang is out on the streets saving women and killing anyone who gets in her way. When the couple finds a supermarket, they stop to get supplies only to be found by an armed man. Their fear doesn't last much though because Nathan takes off his mask and shakes Mark's hand, explaining he was the one watching them to be sure they're friendly. The conversation is interrupted when they hear a car approaching, so the trio runs to hide behind the shelves while the Nailers enter the store to look for Nina. The men barely take a few steps before they're all shot down to death by Nathan's son Steven, who has been hiding behind a counter all along. Afterward Nathan convinces the couple to join his family for dinner and they leave in his tow truck, which is dragging Mark's car. When they're about to exit the parking lot, they're blocked by a gang known as the Plowboys. The leader Jim says they're just patrolling the neighborhood because they heard the Gamblers gang is around. There's a woman called Betsy trapped in the Gamblers truck and Jim reveals she's the Cherry mentioned on the radio, yet he's already taking an interest in Nina. Steven gets his gun ready to shoot if necessary, but Nathan has a good relationship with Jim and convinces him to open the road so his group can leave. They don't notice they're being watched by Dean, who is alive after all. Later Nina and Mark have dinner with Nathan, his wife, and his two kids. The tension between Nina and Mark while they talk about their life is pretty clear, but Nathan and his wife are affectionate and even dance together. After dinner, Nathan tells Mark the hamburgers they've eaten were made with human flesh. Feeling sick, Mark asks Nathan not to tell Nina the truth and announces they're leaving. However, Nathan forces him to stay with a deadly threat. Suddenly Dean enters the house using Nathan's daughter as a shield. He asks for Nina and Mark, and Nathan agrees to exchange them for his daughter without hesitation. As Dean pushes the girl forward, Steven sneaks around to cut Dean's ankles, causing him to fall and fire his gun. Nathan's wife is shot down as Mark drags Nina away. Then Steven jumps on Dean and starts stabbing him over and over while Dean reaches for his gun. Outside, the couple hears a few shots before taking Nathan's car to escape. Once they're back on the road, Nina says she doesn't want to